willing to give away to Tactical, so it's all fair. And Camille, despite receiving a nerf, is going to get taken away from Alphari because Alphari is very good as Team Liquid get a first lock in Seraphine.
Yeah, Alphari really strong on the Camille, is 3-1 on it so far, since coming over actually to Team Liquid. Seraphine, early pick here, can be really strong. It is a multiple way flex. You can actually play Seraphine mid, you can play it as the bot farming champion, you can play it as support. So I actually like it as an early pick here. I think especially if you are moving towards enchanting supports. We did see Karma top last game, we saw Janna bot in that same game. I think Seraphine is really, really strong. And because it is a 3-way flex, picking it early really doesn't hurt you in any way.
All right, well, Kaisa going to be the response here. Continues to be one of the top ADs, and Spica, I know he wants to play Kane, but he's not going to get it today here. Just going to have to play Hecarim instead.
Okay, so Hecarim, a lot of engage here already. Of course, the Hecarim pairing up well with the Kaisa. We saw that combo actually last game, coming through from Cloud9 as you're cracking up. The ability to actually ult in, land the fear that applies the plasma. Lost can then follow up there with the Kaisa. That is already here pretty strong. It will be interesting to see where Team Liquid does want to take us. Olaf, as far as the early game fighting, will have a really big advantage over Spica on this Hecarim. But I'm going to be curious if Team Liquid is looking to take away or ban out any of the champions that do really follow up on that engage, things like the Galio, things that want to dive alongside it, like perhaps even that Rel. I think that Tristana is actually a pretty good answer here if you're expecting a team to be playing pretty dive heavy. We saw Tactical play it. You can also put this mid lane for Jensen. It's one of the safer marksman picks because it has long range that obviously increases throughout the game due to her passive, but also the rocket jump, the self peel with the buster shot, all makes it pretty effective if you are expecting dive. And with Hecarim Kaisa showing, that's what TSM are looking to do.
Yeah, I think strong jungler, two good early flex picks in phase 1. TL very well set up to navigate the rest of this draft as PoE is going to go ahead and take Syndra. So obviously has to feel comfortable playing into Trist if that's what Jensen wants, and I think that matchup's totally fine. But Syndra, again, pretty safe, especially if you do want to insulate that possible pick by banning away some champions here in phase 2, as we'll have a look at what TSM want to do here in their next phase of bans.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see where they actually target, because this could be Seraphine mid, and perhaps they're a little bit more hesitant to actually target over towards that mid lane. Renekton getting taken away, want to remove the pairing of that Renekton Olaf that is such a devastating 2v2, to be able to have a really strong early game jungler pair it up with one of those bully top laners who does have the CC to actually set up for you. So going to be taking that off the table here. I'm going to be interested to see really where TSM wants to take us. If they are going to save Huni's pick for last, look for something a little bit more aggressive, because over the last few weeks, it feels like Huni has really kind of settled into the role of playing weak side for TSM. It has been more about focusing on the bot lane, playing towards that lane, having Huni play a little bit more reserved up on the top side and trying to survive for himself. And these bans really are very heavily geared towards protecting Huni, with GP, Camille, Renekton all being banned away from Alphari, trying to deny any potential power picks that could come through for him. Gnar has already been banned off on the other side. So when you're looking at things that Alphari has already played that are still left up on the table, you are going further down in his champion pool to things like the Kennen, the Jace, even the Jax and the Quinn. But, he already has, like, his 4 most played champions are already all banned out.
Yeah, Rel and Pantheon going to be the last 2 there for Liquid. So 2 support bans potentially, although given the current makeup, that seems pretty likely. Although I suppose Huni could take Pantheon if he really wanted. We have seen Pantheon top already this split. But TSM going to continue the trend of just picking pretty stable champions. Again, this is a team that loves to play mid to late. There's Shen, which is a really nice pick for Huni. Again, you're going to play weak side. You can help your teammates out this way. We'll see what Alphari has as a possible counter pick here.
And it pairs up incredibly well with the Hecarim as well as the Kaisa. If you want to be diving in deep, the Shen Stand United works very, very well to be able to actually add to that dive. So it feels like it's everything just being sent, everything for the all-in, everything for the dive here, which makes me think with Galio still available, that could be a look for TSM if Team Liquid don't take it. With the Alistar coming through, we do kind of know now that it is going to be mid lane Seraphine here, unless they want to have a farming Seraphine bot and mid lane Tristana. So there is still the possibility of the flex to be done like that, but given that Tactical actually played the Tristana last time and we have the Alistar pairing down here on that bottom side, it doesn't feel like you would probably want to pair that Seraphine with the Alistar, so I'm expecting that to be mid lane. And Gragas coming through should very likely just be up on that top side to answer the Shen. This is going to be probably tank versus tank. fairly even matchup in that regard. But I would really like the Galio here. I do think it fits both how SwordArt likes to play and also what their comp wants to do, because this is really like all in, send it all to the backline, get on top of these champions, take them down. There is a high amount of peel though on the Team Liquid side, so I do think it could be pretty difficult to actually reach tactical, and that is likely going to be what decides the game. Because when you look over at the TSM side, yes, you have Olaf as that kind of potential secondary carry, but with some of the jungle nerfs, he won't be as accelerated in golden experience as he would have been on a previous patch. So really, this is more of a one carry style on Team Liquid. It's all about playing around tactical. This is all about 5v5, nothing for that side lane, whereas TSM do have the ability to play more heavily towards the side lane, utilizing the Shen and the additional global that he brings, and they also have really good engage, really heavily focused on that backline dive to try to take down tactical, and likely these team fights will be decided by if they can kill off tactical or not.
Yeah, I mean, you said it already, right? Trist is just so safe with Rocket Jump. She has such long range that only gets better as items and levels stack up for her. So you need some pretty good CC to kill that carry, but if you can kill her in this kind of comp, especially quickly in a team fight, things tend to go your way rather rapidly. And Olaf really just feels like kind of the bridge that Tactical is going to be walking over to her, get T out of that mid to late game portion where Trist is feeling strong, and they can take fights happily that way. So should be a fun one to watch. Also cool to see Jensen on Seraphine. This is the first mid lane Seraphine in the LCS, I believe. So she's getting gold one way or the other. So it'll be kind of cool to see what happens there. I'm expecting still some Moonstone renewers and friends, but at least has more options to build damage later on, because of course Moonstone is going to increase in efficiency as you build more items in general, because it is a mythic item.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if he actually wants to go towards that Moonstone. You can go things like Ludens if you want to prioritize mid lane, wave clear. I have seen that a fair bit, because you do have pretty good AP ratios on that champion as well. Traditionally, Jensen is not really that supportive player. He has played some Lulu in the past, which is kind of like the most akin to this style, I would say. But he really only has 5 Lulu games all time. Obviously, he's known a bit for his Zillion, but still it feels like a bit of a different role. So it will be interesting to see how he does perform on this. It is a step away from a lot of the compositions that we have been seeing from Team Liquid. It really does feel much more like one threat. You can call it two if you want to include the Olaf in that. But Olaf, I think, is going to have a lot more difficulty to succeed on this patch as a true carry than he would have a couple patches ago, because he has been hit multiple times. Gore Drinker nerf, Sterix nerf, individual nerfs for Olaf, now the experience and gold nerf from the jungle. So Olaf is pretty far away from the power level he was at just a couple patches ago.
I mean, I feel like especially in this kind of comp and after all those changes, we talk about like board delivery systems a lot for Orianna. Olaf's just here to deliver Seraphine ult further into the enemy team, right? That's your whole job. Just hit R and run at them and try and align with your mid laner.
Like a conga line.
Exactly. So that when she encores, she hits everyone. So, gonna be a fun one, certainly. Jensen with Airy here, so perhaps more towards that Karma we saw from Fudge in the last game, but of course plenty of options here. And like you said, Jensen does not like to get away from carry items, and certainly does not like to get away from the ability to farm minion waves quickly. Also curious to see if Cosmic Drive continues to make an appearance. I could see an argument for both these champions potentially, so we'll have to keep track of that one today.
I think Cosmic Drive is actually really good on Seraphine. Once CDR, the move speed is already pretty powerful, in addition to the move speed that you're going to be getting when you pop that W. I do think it can actually work quite well on Seraphine. I think it can be a good second item on PowerOfEvil here as well. But with him, grabbing the tier early, you're expecting mythic item, then the tier completion, and then, coming in for a third item on that Cosmic Drive feels like maybe it's a little bit late, and maybe you need something like a Void Staff at that point. So it will be interesting to see if either of them do build towards it. But I think TSM is going to have to play a pretty clever game to be able to actually come out on top in this one. If you're looking just straight up for the 5v5, it does feel like there's so much peel and self-peel for Team Liquid here on Tactical, as Justice Punch level 1 is pretty interesting. You saw him use the explosive shot on the minion, so wanted to try to fight heavily for that. On the wave, both teams trying to fight for this level 2. But I mean, you have Gragas for the disengage, you have Seraphine for the massive shielding, as well as the ultimate for the counter engage, and CoreJJ to peel, the Buster Shot for the self peel. It feels really difficult to actually get to tactical in any of these 5v5, so it may come down to, can Huni split push? Can they, catch TL members in rotation, pick them off with things like the Hecarim ult plus Stand United? Because I think if you just have a straight up 5v5 Battlelands established, TL has a heavy advantage.
For sure, and mid lane matchup, not expecting too many fireworks here, but would certainly be fun to watch just because of how many skill shots these players have to dodge in this matchup. We know Jensen's efficacy on that particular maneuver, but PoE no slouch himself as Alphari is getting things pushed into the top side. It is grass pierce, so going to be tank Gragas almost assuredly, but you know, Shen is Shen. Good taunt there for Huni, gets the drag through, gets a good amount of damage done with the autos, but I already said this earlier today, and I guess it bears repeating. Gragas really just feels like nothing happens when you land against him. He just like procs his passive and everything's a-okay, so not expecting a whole lot here. 1v1 in the top lane. Certainly they're both of them, whether someone comes to lane or they move out of lane, obviously that's easier for Shen once he's level 6, looking to affect and help out their teammates, because that's just where we are these days.
Yep, I totally agree. I think that, as you say, unless there's a serious mistake, neither one should be able to solo kill the other. They are looking for a potential engage here.
Ooh, spicy there on the SwordArt there as CoreJJ finds it. Double taunt is good. Ignite is down, and there's the jump, there's the flash. And now in goes Santorin, baby. It's first blood. He KOs SwordArt.
Nicely done, taking down SwordArt. I think SwordArt was so dead there. Probably could have even just held on to the summoners. Tactical got the rocket jump reset by proccing that explosive charge, and you have Santorin coming in behind you. There's no real way to get out. Spica trying to put some pressure here on Jensen, but I think he's too close to the tower to really make anything much happen.
Good stun from PoE though. If he'd been a little bit further up, could have seen that E knockback there, and Jensen could have certainly been dead, but SwordArt was absolutely dead, as you mentioned here, and CoreJJ just, as always, finding that engage.
Yep, finding the engage. It is before level 3, so it's not super powerful, but you see Tactical jumping in on him. You land that jump on top of him. It has the slow, and when you actually get the full proc of that explosive shot, when you auto it enough times that it detonates instead of just timing out, that does reset your jump, so then he can just jump in again for the follow-up, and you can see he didn't even have to use his flash to be able to help finish off that kill. Santorin, of course, flashing in to finish it off himself, but is going to be in a pretty good position as a result. The one bright side there for TSM, though, is Spica was just power farming that entire time, so is a camp or so ahead and working quickly towards that level 6.
This is real nice looking for CoreJJ if you can find the angle on this roam up so early to the top side. Does still have his flash, Huni with his flash of his own, but now CoreJJ going to show himself, and Huni's going to back away to requisite safety. But I love the attempt there again. Alphari's aggressively TPing so early back into the lane after blowing all his mana to trade with Huni. So Huni's like, yeah, all right, I'll fight you, and CoreJJ's like, aha, well, will you fight me too? The answer was no.
Yeah, spoilers, the answer was no. He did have to run it away. But at the very least, you know, didn't actually get too aggressive there. This is something that I think Huni has been really preyed on in the past for, you know, where he's going through these aggressive taunts without vision of members from the opposing team and then gets ganked immediately, where he's trying to make these outplays happen where sometimes he shouldn't. And in this case, he did play it, you know, pretty passively, and as a result was not punished. And Alphari going actually pretty heavily towards the mana here. Double Doran's Ring. He grabs the tier up here early. A lot of the tank Gragases will grab that early tier to just help them with the mana throughout the lane phase, but generally you don't see a second Doran's these days. It's usually just working straight towards that Bomby Cinder. So will be interesting to see if he wants to change up his build for a little bit more lane dominance, because that's what it feels like right now. And Huni, yet to use his first base, is kind of just chilling here, trying to absorb as much farm as he possibly can, but is actually down a couple waves already.
All right, well, Dragon is going to be leashed for Spica potentially here, as Santorin didn't quite have the support he needed to take it. Yeah, Spica's actually just going to smite that one away as PowerOfEvil with level 6 roam down to the Dragon. So unfortunately, Santorin even going to get spotted by Spica, who's now level 6. Wasn't quite in the rush there when he hit the recall, but he's going to be okay.
Yeah, and that was just kind of a high-risk play from, you know, the TL side when you actually think about the positioning of top lane as well. Alphari has no TP, and Huni has TP and Stand United. So, you know, not only was it the mid laner roaming, it's the fact that Huni always could have joined there, meant they just had to straight up back off and give it up. You know, TSM really was in such a dominant position. If anyone spotted TL doing that, they were going to be able to take it away from them, and they do spot them on it, get a dragon for themselves. So pretty good early start here for TSM, but the gold is going in favor of TL, largely in part due to that top lane advantage that they have, as well as that first kill.
Yeah, to Huni's credit, like still battling here, being down CS, he's like keeping pressure on Alphari, staying in lane forever. One of the things that like an energy-based champion can get a lot of mileage out of is Jensen is going to get the blue buff, Spica not in there to steal it. And you know, Alphari's kind of got like the emoji build happening, and now he's got a Bomby Cinder, so it ruined the effect. It's like two little eyes and a nose there with the two rings in the tier.
I was trying to figure out the emoji build. I'm like, is this some new meta thing? And then it's like, nope.
It was better before he bought the
nose.
Syndra. But now he added another emoji, so absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I just didn't know that. It's a new build for me.
There you go.
So,
there you go. For me too. As soon as he goes back to lane.
We'll move forward. The Bomby Cinder coming through here. You know, it is a nice early advantage from Alphari, but shouldn't be that big of a deal there for Huni. You know, honestly, with the wave pushing towards him, he doesn't even need to use his TP or his Stand United. And I do think that in the past as well, you know, Huni would be more likely to TP back towards this. It does feel like he has truly embraced his role in this team, which has been to play very heavily weak side, and this is more towards that role that you are expecting him. He wants to play for the global advantage. He is falling down a bit in farm as a result. Yes, there was a bit of pressure up there from CoreJJ, but holding those so that his team can play on the other side of the map and hopefully earn an advantage there. You can see that Lost is up in farm, despite the fact that they did actually kill off on a SwordArt, and they got that dragon. So, you know, that is kind of the trade here if you are Huni.
All right, blue buff for PowerOfEvil. Nice collection there as Spica continuing to be efficient here and just farming up for the most part. Going to be a quiet one here. 2.5 minutes until that next dragon is up. We'll see if TSM can indeed nab it. Otherwise, setup-wise, both these teams pretty happy with how the game is progressing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, for TL, you're not going to be worried at all about what's actually going on here. You are up in gold. Yes, Technical is down a little bit of farm, but Tristana just scales so incredibly well, you know, not only with gold, but also with levels for the additional range that passive does provide. So the later you get into the game, the more comfortable as Tristana is going to be in a lot of these situations. TSM also has some pretty good scaling themselves, of course, with the Kaisa, but it's a more difficult team fight to actually pull off because you have to execute your dives very effectively.
Ooh, Tactical does get the jump out of there, and of course, no more flash taunt there. Is CoreJJ going to go back in? There's still a Hecarim around the area, but SwordArt already going to maybe go down. The heal happens there. Tactical does finish off the kill, but CoreJJ are going to now be the target, but he has his ult. He pops it, and Spica is still going to kill him regardless. Now top side, it's the roam caught in transition as PowerOfEvil falls to Santorin, and Team Liquid managed to make it there first, so they get 2 for 1.
Yeah, they get 2 for 1, and they also get the kill onto Tactical, which is so important for them. All of the kills are on this Olaf and on this Tristana. Those are their 2 carries, so they have all the gold exactly where they want it. They should be able to grab this Rift Herald here as well, but Spica is looking like he wants to contest, and Santorin just kind of waiting for Jensen right now.
Yeah, Spica still has his ulti, but it's 3v2. SwordArt's here now as well, though. In they go. I think he got it, but is he going to get out safely? Still going to chase for the kills instead as Lost goes into the Tactical and takes him out. With the rest of TL reinforced, and SwordArt's going to have to book it. Somebody nabbed the eye, though, so we'll find out who in a second is Lost. Is indeed that in front of the 4 people on the enemy team. Is CoreJJ going to find the pulverize, and that kill goes over to Alphari.
Yeah, and Santorin did actually grab that Rift Herald eye, so all things considered, still pretty good there for TL. TSM wanted to contest here, but it is eventually just that trade of marksman players. We can see SwordArt going in. The jump was buffered there. The taunt does not land, and they just turn around for the fight. And then on the bottom side of your screen, PowerOfEvil trying to rotate to get up here, but the Scatter of the Weak is just ulted by the Olaf, the flash to follow through there, and then Jensen with the ultimate getting the extended range by touching Santorin. It just continues to go further and further and further, and then we flash forward to this Rift Herald here. The Smite E coming through from Santorin, securing that, picking it up at the start of the fight. Tactical goes down right away, but Lost now in the middle of that fight has no summoners, has no ulti, so CoreJJ just waiting on the cooldowns here to catch up, and as soon as he has that headbutt, they're able to get right on top of him. Let that headbutt pulverize and kill him off.
Nice and easy there for Team Liquid as they'll continue to stay ahead in gold, up about 1,200 at this point now, looking to take this dragon off the table, which would be very nice to keep away from TSM. And unfortunately for them, no getting into this pit, which means no dragon. Team Liquid going to claim this Oceaneer as we'll reveal the soul for this game. This Mountain for the 2nd game in a row.
And quite a valuable one, to be honest. Both teams are going to have people that are building, you know, a fair bit of armor. When you look at the supports as well as the top laners, can be pretty valuable here to be able to work towards that. And it's also going to be really powerful just in actually absorbing the engage potentially here. You know, especially if you are TL, you have a pretty resilient team. You already have a lot of peel for Trist, and it feels like TSM is so reliant on being able to burst down Tactical, kill him off early on in these team fights as the game does progress, which will mean it's so hard to do if he gets that Mountain Soul.
Jensen dancing around. PowerOfEvil trying to find the choke point to maybe land a stun in, but Jensen just going to walk and take the blue buff instead as TSM are grouping up on this bottom half of the map. They've got Huni's ultimate almost back up as well, so if Huni can find a safe space, he could even join there, but Alphari going to go sideways on that body slam. Eats a couple tower hits and some slaps from Shen, so not the best there as Huni re-engages with the taunt, pops up the dodge zone, and continues to lay the hurt into Alphari, but unfortunately for him, Santorin's here, and now he knows because the Herald gets popped, and that's a great ulti out of Alphari. Ragnarok popped as well, but unfortunately Santorin can't find his way under because Huni did flash, but he's contending with the Herald that's going to take out his tower. He wants to grab the 50 bonus gold. Does get it, and now Spica. That is Spica in the bottom of the map. Roaming up onto Alphari, does have the flash though, but there's the Stanch United, going to get in there nice and early. Taunt lands in onto Santorin, and with no Ragnarok, there's no hope for the Viking as Santorin will be felled by Huni. As Alphari going to keep fighting, but he should be safe under his tower. Indeed, he will be.
The Gore Drinker makes it pretty close, but TL pushing on that bottom side as well. Tristana, anytime you get access to those towers, is so deadly. So TSM do get a kill back. They knew that the ultimate had been popped, as you said, in that initial skirmish there with Huni. So Huni actually just holding on to his taunt, drops the ulti. Santorin gets really close to actually turning around this kill, as that big burst of healing did come through from the Gore Drinker. But Huni will survive, and they do trade back that kill. But still, 2,000 plus the gold lead here for TL, opening up the map a little bit more. Huni has been getting pressured pretty heavily in these earlier stages of the game, and now it's going to be even more difficult for him up on that top side. Not having a tier 1, he's going to be very vulnerable to any potential roams or ganks.
For sure, as Team Liquid continue to find weaknesses and look to capitalize. They're almost up 2,000 gold. They've split those Drakes, which we've already said is super important. Kraken Slayer is done for both ADs. Moonstone is done for Jensen, which answers part 1 of our question. We'll see if he does go for continued supportive items or perhaps stops off on some of the more damage-oriented AP items. There are options certainly here for Seraphine, but it does feel like Jensen is content to just play support here.
Yeah, I think so, especially because Santorin had a good early game, you know, and did get a couple kills under his belt, got the early Gore Drinker. You have more of that secondary threat, but...
Whoa, Lost is going in. Does it? Buster shot it back, and Tactical will live to tell the tale, but Lost went almost all in there, and actually looking pretty good there in the 1v1, but Tactical holds on, and now the reinforcements have arrived, so Lost and SwordArt are going to have to back away most likely, but Spica is here in reserve. I just don't think the Hecarim's enough to stop this at all.
No, it's not, especially not with Jensen there over the wall. And yeah, Lost a good look trying to get that kill on a Tactical, but in the end, Tactical disengages with the Buster shot, and it's Lost who actually had to use the Summoner there. So TL do go positive in that exchange, despite the fact that it was a good aggressive look. And they end up losing their tower off the back end of that. So TSM kind of bleeding out these objectives a fair bit now. You know, they have lost both the towers in bot and top. PowerOfEvil is holding onto this mid lane turret here, which will be harder to siege, but we'll see if TL wants to try to go for this second Rift Herald and use that to break another turret, because that could be a pretty good option, as I'm just kind of expecting the teams to be looking towards this next dragon. And it's going to answer a lot of questions to see if TSM actually want to go for a fight at that following dragon, or if they're going to be willing to give it up and try to play more towards the side lane here with the Shen and try to use that to get themselves some more gold.
I don't know what the exact plan was there for Alphari, but I liked it a lot. He was like snuck into the Raptor pit, threw a wraparound Gragas ulti, knocking them towards Jensen, and unfortunately it's Seraphine with a Moonstone Renewal and not someone like Tactical or CoreJJ to follow up there. But I like the attempt, doesn't really cost him much. Gonna have rank 2 ulti pretty soon. I imagine it'll cool down before the next fight happens, even though there is a dragon up in 20 seconds. Team Liquid can also trade. In fact, they're gonna start the Herald first, so might be looking to get both, but certainly be happy to get this one first.
Yeah, when I saw him throw out the ulti, I looked on the map and saw who was there, and I was like, okay, it's just the Moonstone Seraphine. You're not going to burst anyone down. Tactical down there on that bottom side.
Ooh.
Oh, he's dead.
Nailed by PoE. The damage is enough. Flash in there for the final Q, and PowerOfEvil's going to grab the solo kill.
Nicely done by PowerOfEvil, catching Tactical in rotation. Tactical was just kind of down in the bot side river by himself there. You know, pretty haphazard with his positioning. Does get found out there by PowerOfEvil. Means they get the kill. It means they will also get this dragon here. So TSM being able to get a little bit back, trying to claw themselves into this game here, as TL have been in control, it feels like. Overall, you know, are still maintaining that 2,000 gold lead despite the fact that the kills are even. TL really has been the one, I think, that are playing more the style of game that they do want. They're the ones that want to play for this straight-up 5v5, and TSM really hasn't been able to push the advantage in these side lanes just yet.
It had cleanse as well and still died. I don't know if it actually would have made much of a difference because just took so much damage after that stun, and PoE knew what he had to do to calculate the rest of that kill. So really well played. Gonna have a Void Star finish now. So ramping up in damage, which is always nice to see, as TSM do actually get a tower off the back of that play as well, as in addition to taking that second Mountain Dragon. So actually that one kill in mid lane cascaded into quite a bit, but Tactical already trying to answer here in mid lane.
Yeah, especially because it was actually solo gold for Lost. That is pretty big.
Oh, not again! He's just dead!
I mean, again, he didn't even cleanse. Like, I don't know if it would have made a difference, but maybe he could have actually cleansed Buster Shot to disengage something there. But that is actually twice in a row he's gotten picked off without even using the cleanse, and pretty sloppy stuff from Tactical here. TL were really playing a very controlled game, methodically extending their advantage. This comp is built around him, so he can't just be giving up these easy deaths. He's got to be on the map, farming gold constantly. He's got to be really escalating the experience that he's getting as well as that gold, and that's why they're leaving him solo a lot of the time. It's not just CoreJJ, out for no reason. They're trying to get solo gold on this Tristana to get the increased base stats as well as the increased attack range from his passive. But twice in a row he's gotten picked off, and he's got to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that you ideally want him getting solo XP where possible, but have to be careful, certainly with no MR, as Tactical once again is felled by PowerOfEvil. But surely it won't happen a third time, I say.
Well, if it does, you just cursed him, so all the TL fans know who to blame. But it feels like these aren't situations where he really should be dying, right? These are very avoidable deaths. The first one, he just kind of walked through the river while his whole team was topside. The second one, he's walking up and shooting the tower by himself with no one else around. Both are very bold decisions, and he's punished for it twice in a row. But TL grouping now, they grab that second Herald, as I was talking about earlier, and they'll use that to crack the last outer here, pushing in towards this tier 2 to get a charge. You can even see Alphari in position for potential engage.
Yeah, looking for the kind of the same play he had in mid before, but TSM, after the Herald has charged in, are considering a possible counter-engage. Spica's ready with the rank 2 ulti, but Seraphine just making this push real troublesome, and CoreJJ with a big wraparound is going to mean TL just siege down 2 towers, nice and easy.
Yeah, I mean, TSM doesn't want to fight because Lost isn't even there, right? Lost is still pushing throughout this entire time up on that top side. So TSM, do lose 2 towers, but at the very least, they get a tower back on the top side, and all of the gold is concentrated on Lost. So both of the towers that they have taken have been solo gold for their AD. We'll see if this fight does happen.
CoreJJ back in. That Bloscombe was wild. Santorin's actually going to find PoE here, and now he's going to have to run away, but Santorin is going to try and save the mid lane, and not going to happen. Gold Drinker plus the Olaf E, and everything just cascades down into PowerOfEvil's health bar being reduced to 0. Because, by the way, Lost is still pushing, is going to get a second tower here.
They're going to go for Baron, though. This is actually a huge play potentially for TL. They are going to start this up. You have Seraphine, so you have AoE shielding to really just get you through this, and they have a lot of damage. And I don't even know if TSM are in a position to do anything about this. I don't even know if they know that it's going on. They are TPing in now and have spotted that it's happening, but Spica's way too far away. Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to matter now. Spica, no Ghost, not enough. He does have his ulti to get over the wall. Could maybe go for the 50-50 in the area now if he wants to do it. But they do have a ward in the back as well. Surely they're going to force something here. Is Alphari going to burn the ulti on the SwordArt? SwordArt going to get crushed as Tactical is going to take him out. Now the TP in looks very haphazard there for PowerOfEvil, but he does get the stun to knock them away, and the Baron has reset, but Team Liquid thinking about walking back in there as Lost tries to assassinate CoreJJ. Now going to be forced to flash out as the pole finds 2, and now Spica and Huni caught out on the front side there as ulti out from Spica, but Huni not so lucky, had to ulti in, is now going to go straight back to the fountain as Tactical is going to make it too.
That is a big play there for TL, getting a couple kills, but TSM very narrowly stave off disaster. They prevent the Baron from going down. TL didn't want to commit to that 50-50. I respect the decision from their positioning here. They are still scaling well into this next stage of the game. The Dragon is spawning here in 20, so TL decided instead of going back to the Baron after the pick, they're going to reset, they're going to buy up and get ready to fight this. And now with PD coming through here for Tactical, you have the Sterix as well completed for Santorin. Those are big items coming through from the 2 major damage dealers on the Team Liquid side, and it feels like they are poised to win this next fight and put themselves potentially here back to 2 Dragons.
Ooh, CoreJJ going to start running. Chemtank's going in. Good flash from PoE. We're not going to have that next time around. So that Dragon that's up, or that Baron, if TL want to go back to this part of the map, certainly on the table as Team Liquid are going to look to force the issue.
Yeah, I think the Dragon makes sense here. You know, you don't want to necessarily give over a free Dragon to TSM, who already do have that Dragon advantage. So they are going to move down and should be grabbing this second one for themselves. I don't think TSM have any business contesting at this point, and they also can't really look for any sort of a counter Baron. Lost, you know, did get a lot of gold during that play. He took that second tower up on the top lane, so he's gotten 3 isolated turret kills for himself. He is actually level 12, very high level on this Kaisa, so is in a really strong point here, and is working heavily towards that healing cut. You know, he already has the Executioners. He's looking to upgrade that into the Mortal Reminder so he can get towards that 60% healing reduction when you do hit them 3 times in a row, which is very good against a lot of the champions over on TL when you're looking at, you know, the Gragas, even just the sustain on Olaf, as well as the heals coming through from Jensen. So I do like the buy.
All right, well, Spica's caught CoreJJ, but kind of tough to do too much to the Alistar. Does ulti. PowerOfEvil, though, can maybe finish it off. The ulti's enough. Very nicely played, but now top side. This is the big problem. Lost there. Gonna have the Galio joining in. A SwordArt's right beside him, but now he has to fight out between 3 people. Not gonna make it happen. It's a 2v3 still for TSM, but it's only the front line left as PowerOfEvil with no ulti. Can't really do anything versus 4 from Team Liquid. Spica around the side, but TSM just flashing out of there as Team Liquid are gonna try and polish off the rest of TSM. Spica gonna dive back in, but Tactical is gonna go down to Spica. That's a big kill for TSM to get, but now it's 1v3 as the root lands in onto Spica, and the damage is just keep coming on through as Spica is going to have to ult on out of there as Huni just barely able to protect his jungler.
Tactical just keeps dying, but TL, who needs an AD carry? You built the comp around it, but the Olaf is here, and Santorin is just running through everyone. TL, though, because Tactical died, can't actually threaten the Baron. They have so much less damage without him, and you know, Tactical definitely making some errors in a lot of these fights. He just kind of walks straight into the Galio taunt and die. Unfortunately for them, because if he actually stays alive, yes, TL still came out on top, but if he stays alive, it's probably the Baron killed off the back of this. So the fight does start. CoreJJ gets found. Yes, he pops the ulti, but he's already so low. It's a pretty easy kill, but then the counterplay coming in here on the top side. Alphari body slam flash onto Lost. Huni with the immediate stand united, and it's looking like they maybe could keep him alive, but not quite enough to be able to keep him alive through that Olaf. And then Tactical here, this is where that's that critical mistake. He jumps forward, trying to look for the damage, but then I think just loses sight of where SwordArt is, and he's kiting forward straight into the taunt. He does cleanse, but Spica comes across and cleans up that kill, getting the shutdown, and meaning that TL would not be able to get the follow-up Baron.
All right, well, TSM kind of gotten away with it, I feel like, in a lot of these fights, right? Like, just trading enough where Team Liquid can't get more. There haven't been, like, a really big game-opening moment just yet. Just a lot of trades that keep going in the favor of Team Liquid, which is great for them. But they haven't really got the game to a point where they, you know, 4,000-5,000 gold ahead with a Baron pushing in towards the inhibs. TSM have kept it close despite, again, not having the trades go in their favor. So TSM going to have to keep doing it, though. Like, eventually it feels like Team Liquid are just going to break through, but TSM doing a nice job of playing defense, and then they'll presumably feel comfortable with this comp once things do get to that later stage. We'll see how they navigate once they get there. For now, it's still holding off the Team Liquid attempts on the top side and the Baron.
My concern for TSM, you know, Spica should be able to disengage here, you know, is not so much the gold, because the gold has really stagnated for a long time, right?
Right.
And they've actually got a lot of gold in the pockets of Lost. You know, he's close to now 3 items, which is great for him. Should have more gold, or at least very similar to what Tactical has, despite being down on kills. But the problem is they're not actually really getting a lot of side lane advantages. The only side lane objectives they've taken is having Lost out on that side lane split pushing on the Kaisa. And that just doesn't feel like a win condition to me. So if you're going to resort to that 5v5, you've got to show that you can win these 5v5s. And every single team fight has been TL coming out on top, despite what I feel are some pretty big mispositions from Tactical. So it's going to be tough for TSM because there's just so much peeling for Tactical. You know, TSM have got to continue to pressure these side lanes, got to get some side lane advantages, and Huni now takes down his first turret of the game. So it's good to see them actually getting some pressure out here, because I think that's the way that you can take down this TL team. If you can peel their composition apart, they become so much weaker when they're, you know, split up and having individual skirmishes than some of the TSM champs.
Alphari going to try and slow down Huni, but Going to pop the camp take to extend it here. Olaf is pretty far away, but he's also pretty speedy because he's Olaf. Huni going to taunt away once again. I think he's going to be okay, but Jensen's TP'd in. That will force a flash, as Alphari did have the barrel ready to follow up slow. So Huni, despite getting the tower, does have to commit a summoner. Team Liquid don't commit too much to get it, although I guess Jensen had to TP to make sure that happens.
It's just unfortunate for TSM that they have no vision up on the top side, because if they could actually see what was going on, they should have been starting Baron. I mean, the mid laner TP'd, the top laner is chasing your top laner in the bottom lane, and Santorin was down there as well, right? You know, but they don't have the vision. They don't have the warding out on the map to have that information. So as far as they know, the rest of the TL members are all still hiding in the brush by that Baron. And you know, as a result, there's no real punish on the fact that TL sent so many members down there to actually try to collapse on and kill off Huni. Because if they had that information, you could go straight into the pit with the Kaisa and potentially force something.
Instead, it's just going to be Team Liquid. Chase off Huni, grab the dragon, going to make it 3 for themselves, as maybe thought about starting the Baron, but again, same problem. Not enough vision work done early, not enough control of the map as deep TP comes in for TL. That's Alphari looking to line it up, has the flash of the ulti ready. This could be a disaster for TSM. Ulti, though, not really going to connect, and SwordArt's just going to disengage with the rest of the squad. They'll be fine for now.
Yeah, they are kind of on the wrong side of the map, though. They're away from their base, so this could still end up being a fight. We'll see where they want to actually take it. TSM is on the opposite side of the map right now, and it becomes this fight around waves. You can see that Tactical is actually killing the mid lane wave, so TSM now need to full recall or actually commit to a base race and go down towards that top lane. It looks like that's the decision they're going to make here, so we're going to be putting ourselves into a pretty weird spot. Tactical's going to kill these turrets fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's demolishing, literally, the one in mid alongside Santorin. Huni did go back, but it has TP, no ulti of note. But TSM, they're going to get an inhib first here. There's 4 of them versus 0. But Team Liquid are going to be able to get an inhib as a trade. So mid inhib for top inhib. Have to think that favors TSM somewhat, but is CoreJJ going to make it any more costly than that? It doesn't look like so for now, but they're getting collapsed on again.
Exactly. That's the question, is can they actually get out? Huni does have TP, so he's got to join his team here pretty early. You know, he's got to TP one of those minions.
They're going! Yeah, they're just going to go for it. They know they have to engage to get out of here. And Huni, I think he's found the angle onto Jensen. TP's in, but what a stun. As Lost is going to go in. It actually doesn't matter at the end of the day, as Huni's able to find the CC. SwordArt dives in. And now it's a 5v4 for TSM, and they've got supers coming into that top side.
Yeah, I think they actually should have just gone for the base. You just killed them off. You had minions going to the Nexus turrets. Why are they going back to the Baron? I think you actually could have just ran straight down with TSM out of position and potentially been able to get something done there with TL out of position, rather. But it's going to be this Baron fight. Are they just going to straight up 50-50 this? Santorin's still here.
All right, is this moment before disaster or glory? TSM going to turn back in. Spica with a pretty big ulti, but Tactical stayed safe. His rocket jumped in the Baron is still fairly low. Ragnarok though pop for Santorin as Huni's going to be kept out of the pit. Alphari looking to go in. What a stun there for PoE. Finds 2. They get the Baron. SwordArt's going to dive back in. TSM, they're going to try and make the best of it as Lost. Looking for Tactical, but doesn't quite find it. And somehow they commit to the Baron. They get it, and nobody else died.
Well done. That was dicey by TSM, but they did not commit to the 50-50. They got the damage out on Santorin. They pushed him back before finishing that off. But oh my god, that was really on a knife's edge. As so many members from TSM, tanking up that Baron for that long, you are going to get very, very low. And that could have gone bad for them. But at the end of the day, they are the ones who get that kill on Jensen. It is a trade of inhibitors, but they come out on top with the Baron. And we'll see how much they can get done here. A low mid lane tier 1 is available for them to pick up immediately. And if they can get Huni out to the side lane, once he has the Stand United back, they can maybe pick up some real gold here and potentially threaten another inhibitor.
Yeah, Lost is just eating minion waves right now with the Hurricane finished. I mean, not like Tactical doesn't have good items either. Finished Infinity Edge now after the PD and the Kraken Slayer. Thornmail now on for Santorin, realizing what's happening there with all the auto attacks flying in. Baron Cannon, though, is going to do some damage here to the tier 2, but I feel like TSM are just buying time and space to keep the soul away from Team Liquid, because they have to be thinking about that dragon that's up in 90 seconds as Team Liquid will move back out onto the map.
And you can see this 3-man squad from TSM pushing in that bot lane wave. TL are kind of rotating between the 2 lanes, but if they get 2 split up, you can see that Galio and Kaisa were behind Spica. So if Spica were to engage, if only one member showed and they could see the rest of TL elsewhere, he would actually ult on them, apply the plasma, SwordArt would ult on top, Lost would ult in. So they were looking for this kind of 3-man hit squad here. and now actually moving Spica in between the two lanes to be able to apply that plasma, to be able to find a potential engage with SwordArt and Lost pushing down on that bot lane, who have these semi-globals who can respond. It's only Santorin right now, and the rest are showing, so they should push aggressively.
Yeah, these close lane splits are really nice on the Kaisa side, right? Because their ulti's kind of like a semi-global in this spot. So TSM just continuing to push on all these different fronts. They got the supers doing the work in top side for them. Lost has already done a pretty significant amount of damage to this outer inhibitor tower in bottom side, but CoreJJ's going in. SwordArt's going to deflect it though. Does not have his flash, going to have to run. Justice Punch is back in. That's going to be a stun and a root, and Tactical going to be grabbing that kill.
I'm not sure actually how the Stand United got interrupted there. CoreJJ almost getting picked off, but Huni did use his ult. I'm not sure who actually interrupted it, but CoreJJ will live. They do get the pick onto SwordArt, and now the Dragon's going to be spawning.
Spica looked like it was maybe going back in. I also saw the same thing you did. Shen shield, but unfortunately was not enough to keep SwordArt alive. And like you, I do not know where Huni ended up. That TP right into the arms of PowerOfEvil. Perhaps it is Alphari getting stunned. Not too bad. It's Huni going to be caught out on the other side and Lost. Going to have to get his way in there. Huni's so low, he's dead already. PowerOfEvil getting low as Alphari's chasing him down. He's left for dead as well as Alphari. Should be able to finish him off as Tactical waltzes in to grab that kill. No teleports as there are super minions in the base, but Team Liquid are going to grab the soul here. TSM just forced a base.
Yeah, that is so big for Team Liquid, especially with this style of composition where you're playing against a burst-heavy comp that's reliant on that one punch to start off the fight, to dive in the Hecarim, to ult with your Syndra, to kill someone off immediately, and now with that Mountain Soul, it gets so much harder. And Lost is just way too split from the team. It seemed like TSM had some pretty split comms there. You know, PowerOfEvil in position to actually interrupt Alphari as he does come in with that teleport, but Lost is nowhere near the rest of them. SwordArt had already been picked off in that bottom lane, and TSM make a mistake, get punished hugely for it. They are still close as far as the gold goes, but having that Mountain Soul makes it so difficult to actually fight through, especially on these champions that have a lot of armor and tankiness already. It's going to be very difficult to fight through Alphari and CoreJJ. They are going to be really, really tough to kill, and Tactical now has that stopwatch, has the cleanse available, so as long as he's positioning well and playing well on this Tristana, he should be nearly unkillable.
Yeah, you can see the uptime difference there with the ADs from that damage graph. Again, just Tactical there, and Lost not able to find the angle at all, as TSM did seem to split to your point. So, we'll fight for Baron in 90 seconds. Elder Dragon's coming up a number of minutes along there. And Team Liquid's, yep, top inhibitor has respawned. So is TSM's mid one, to be fair. But that felt like a really good bit of pressure TSM could lean on. And now they're kind of left to doing just defending Team Liquid's constant pushes again. I mean, they've got 3 people in the bottom lane, as Alphari's already in the base, chasing SwordArt away through the base gate.
Yeah, I mean, you have no turret down there, so they're just going to run right at you, and TSM had 3 members down on the bottom side, so they will lose this inhibitor pretty much for free. Huni down still to that bottom lane will draw someone back to answer. He does have the Stand United and the teleport, and because Alphari has no TP, it actually has to be Jensen answering him down on that bottom side, which will mean Team Liquid have a much weaker 4v4 or even 5v5 up on that top side, and that is why you see them then just recalling as a whole. They're not going to try to stay out on the map and look to push, because if Huni did then ult up to that top side, they would likely lose the ensuing fight.
It does feel like TSM going to have to lean pretty heavily on Huni's side lane pressure at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Baron to play for in 25 seconds. Alphari's teleport cooldown, not exactly sure where it is, but have to feel like that the overall positioning still going to favor TSM on that front, but now going to take a reset because they want to be strong before that next fight comes around. Lost has already got 4 items. Same story there for Tacticals. We keep an eye on the carries, but again, with that Mountain Soul finish for Team Liquid, with just how much pressure and how good they've looked in the team fights that they have picked, despite TSM having all these great tools to try and kill Tactical, it's really been Tactical that's killed Tactical, I feel like.
Yeah. He's like, you don't decide if I live or die, I decide. As he jumps in. But TL onto the Baron here, 3-man play, pressuring this very heavily. They want to get the Stand United out of Huni. I think that's the major goal here, rather than actually hard committing to this. But if they can kill Spica, they always can do that, and it's kind of just this stalemate right now. Huni doesn't want to ult up, and TL doesn't want to hard commit to it and finish it off just yet, and now they've lost vision in the pit.
Spica is just going for the steal, I think, but Team Liquid are taking this very slowly. They found the jungler, that's what they needed, but now Spica's in the pit, they're going to have to get him in there, and oh my god, Spica! He's stolen the Baron, but the fight's breaking out on the top side of the map. SwordArt there is going to go in as the shutdown already happens for Tactical, but Alphari is going to be slain by PowerOfEvil, so a 1-for-1 trade, but Tactical's still alive, and that means death for TSM if he keeps ordering. He's going to flash in, make the players lost, finds CoreJJ, but Tactical finds SwordArt as both marksmen trade out the enemy supports, but Lost is indeed that on the wrong side of the map, running away from the rest of TL. But they're going to try and finish it off. We Lost maybe actually on the right side of the map now. I take it back.
I mean, look at Huni, right? He goes for that, and that prompts the recalls coming through from TL. So now it's just a 1v1 here. Lost is going to turn around.
He's actually got the damage. Oh, Jensen, he ruins it. Tactical finds the shutdown. Almost still died, by the way, with a Seraphine next to him. Give you an impression of the Kaisa burst looking pretty good there. But TSM, once again, it feels like Team Liquid are about to break open this game. And somehow, TSM magic their way out of another situation.
Yeah, that was insane. And in that 1v2, he was 1 auto from killing Tactical because he was actually at 4 stacks of the Plasma on Tactical. So 1 auto away from getting that kill, and it would have been pretty worthwhile. I will say, though, as we watch this Honda performance play here, Spica into the pit, and actually TL had done a pretty good job of keeping the Baron fairly healthy. It was still well over 2,000 HP, but PowerOfEvil came over toward that Baron pit and comboed it, so it would get low enough that Spica could then secure it. So that was really good comms, really good team play there from the two. Lost going into the backline, killing off CoreJJ is nice, but then you realize he doesn't really have a way out. So despite the fact that he did get that 1-for-1, he's trading his life out, and we'll see if they're able to set up for this potential Elder. The game now going to be coming down heavily to this. The Elder, obviously, so much immediate power, can outpace that of that Mountain Soul, and TL wants to be able to secure that, use that to close out this game. TSM have been playing a very scrappy style, recognizing that the straight-up 5v5 is so difficult to actually pull off, so they're trying to draw members to these side lanes, trying to spread the map, and it's just going to be this push-and-pull battle. It's really interesting to see how these two teams are approaching it. You know, TL trying to force the early TP and stand united from Huni, and he was just refusing to do it. He was refusing to actually come up and answer that Baron.
All right, well, Team Liquid trying to push here through mid. It's 4v4 right now because Huni is busy pushing in the bottom side. In fact, he's just like ignoring Alphari. He's going to be hitting the inhibitor there with the Baron up minutes. Behind him is very potent here. And I should be able to get this. Alphari can't stop this. Like, what are you going to do? Baron's just too good. Right. So instead, you try and do this, which is force the 4v4, but are you going to win that? Because you have to be careful. TSM have plenty of ways to engage. Santorin trying to be aggressive, looks for SwordArt, gets the Chilling Smite down, but misses the axe. And SwordArt's going to walk away, and now Spica's going to re-engage. Through, they go into Tactical. That's the kill they need as Lost flashes in. 1,000 bonus gold as that's what they grab. And now Lost still fighting it out, is going to die, but they get a second kill before it happens, and now it's 3v2 for TSM as Jensen is just going to get his health bar obliterated despite the stasis. It's not going to last long enough as PowerOfEvil going to kill CoreJJ as well, and SwordArt just going to live as now it's 4v1.
They've done it. TSM have gotten the fight they need. They find the fight here. Tactical again getting picked off, and TSM on a 4v1 push here. It's all up to Alphari. I don't see how he can actually hold on.
Again, Alphari, no damage, just has to try and buy some time, but the towers are falling. TSM, they lost the Baron, but that's not going to be enough. They've actually need the wave to cooperate here, but it will now come back in. They take down the tower. Spica's going to die to Alphari, but TSM, they're going to move in to finish off the Nexus. Please ignore Alphari. He's not worth it at all. As PowerOfEvil's trying to pad the KDA, hit the Nexus, man. As TSM are going to win a nail-biter versus Team Liquid.
What an ending. That was insane, Base Tree. As TSM finally find their fight, they pick off Tactical, the member of Team Liquid that the entire composition was built around. Tactical gets killed. TSM are able to find that dive as the Stand United came through there from Huni. Yes, he got interrupted on it, but the additional shielding helping Spica dive deep on that Hecarim, Lost being able to follow up, and TL just were not able to actually peel quickly enough for that Tristana. He didn't get the Buster shot out, and I'm sure the analyst desk is going to be able to watch that replay back and see everything that did happen. But I think TSM played out what was a very difficult game to win pretty intelligently. You know, TL had the straight up 5v5 advantage. In a lot of these fights, they were constantly winning. They had the Mountain Soul. They had the composition. It felt like everything was working in their favor, but TSM were able to find these awkward situations where they're spreading the map and they're finding a pick on Jensen and taking an inhib, where they're bringing members down and forcing an inhib with Huni and then ulting on the other side of the map and finding that engage. And that is really them pulling a rabbit out of a hat to grab that win. And it's TL dropping another game here now, 5-5, not the record that they were hoping for.
Not at all, and I have to say, more than one rabbit required to win that game, but TSM do indeed take it. On the other side, though, of the commercial break, we are going to be hearing from the Tigers and Huni in the Verizon